version. Because this gets off to a quick start, I'll just explain what this game is. So it's actually a movie tie-in game for like the Spongebob Truth or Square movie TV special, which like nobody watched. So this game didn't sell very well. But because of this and the fact that they rushed the game, we can do some really cool stuff and basically break the game in two. So we're currently doing a little bit of setup right now. So we're ready to go? Okay. You guys got timer ready? Okay, so I'll do 3, 2, 1, go. Okay, 3, 2, 1, go. So something fun to note about this game is that this game has trivia between all of the loading screens. So if you're like playing along in chat or something like that, that's always a lot of fun. Usually there's not enough people in my stream to do it, but sometimes we do it when there's a lot of people. Anyway. The trivia is terrible, so just don't take it too seriously. So there's some robots up ahead here. I'm gonna be looking for them to group up in like groups of 2 or 3. This just makes my attacks a little bit more efficient because I can hit them all with like half as many swings. Oh, this guy got stuck. It's not the right way, buddy. Come on. There we go. Oh, that guy's far away too. So I didn't get the best of luck there with the robots, but that doesn't lose me too much time, so I'm not too worried about it. Other than that one segment, this run is very consistent in terms of random elements. So for this next fight, I'm just going to walk straight, and that's actually going to manipulate the robots to just stand right in front of me. For whatever reason, they're just going to chill out there, and then I can just smack them while they're together. And these guys cooperated as well, nice. Sometimes the back robot can just be like way out in the distance. So I'm gonna grab this guy. Oops, I missed it. Alright. So I'm gonna stand on top of this TG right here, and I'm gonna jump off of it, and that's gonna let me skip an extra button in this segment right here. And now we can just go on and do the rest of it. Basically, the big theme of this game is there's a lot of boring stuff that I don't want to do, so I'm just going to skip it whenever possible.
I mean, he is facing the highest placing American in the Second World War. That's right across from him. But you're going to have to keep your nerves in check. Joy Fury is not the conventional Jack player. He uses all those strings and all those moves that you don't normally see.
So, pay attention up here. Just watch Patrick on the jellyfish jar real quick, and boom, he's gone. Yeah, the developers never intended you to get through this little wheel area so quickly, so they didn't really consider the fact. So they just teleported him out of existence. So up next is barrels. So barrels in this game have really weird physics, but we can actually push them around to use as platforms. So I'm gonna go up to this barrel right here, knock it over onto its side, and I'm gonna try to roll him up over here. And just jump up here and skip that entire section. That one went pretty well. Now, that was the easy one. This one's a lot harder, and the main reason is because we have to get it to stand up, and that requires some manipulation of the weird way that they program walls in this game. So I'm going to grab this barrel, knock it over, and I'm going to try to set it up. Oh, it's already not starting to cooperate. Oh, come on. Come on. Come on. Alright, this one's stuck. There's a couple positions the barrel can be in that's basically a no-go that causes the barrel to just stop in place, and you can't really do anything about it. So luckily I got this backup barrel, so this one's a little bit harder to set up. There we go. And so now that I got it stood up, I can just jump up the ledge and we skip that entire segment right there. So that wasn't too bad. We had to use the backup barrel, but other than that, it was pretty clean. So there's this big slide right here. I'm just going to jump along the rail. And because this is another boring thing that I don't like, I'm just going to completely avoid it. So this fight up here is a little bit random as well, but I'm going to be going for a setup to hopefully get a pretty reliably quick kill on him. But we'll see what we get. Oh, this is good. The big thing about doing this fight quick is just sort of playing with the luck that you get, because the robots aren't always going to spawn in the same way, so you just kind of have to react to what pattern you get. A little bit of a funky pattern this time, but I've definitely seen worse. Alright, where are they? Alright, one more. Where is he? Oh, right behind me. Alright, that was pretty good robots. Let me just check to see what time I'm on. Yeah, I'm a couple minutes behind, that's fine. Not too bad. So we just got a happiness object at the end of that level. So the way that this game tracks progress is that it gives you a happiness object at the end of each level, and then they give you 2 more if you revisit the level and do some extra challenges. You don't see those extra other challenges in obviously the any % category, because that takes way too much time and it doesn't get you anywhere. But in some other categories, there's some cool stuff we can do to sort of break those challenges apart. But we're just going to move on to the next level for now. So this is Kelp Forest. So I'm going to be going for a very difficult skip. I'm probably not going to get it. I'm basically going to be abusing some really bad collision detection on some of the enemies up ahead to boost me over a platform. If I don't get it, like within 3 or 4 tries, I'm just going to kill them and avoid it. It's not too big of a deal if I miss it. So we get a spin ability now, and we can actually extend our horizontal distance a bit. So that's kind of nice. Really wish we would have had that in the last level. For the trick, I'm going to manipulate the robots to follow me into this corner. This is hopefully going to give them into a big enough group that they'll swing at me when I walk over them. Oh, I almost got it. Oh, what happened? Alright, I gotta kill him now, because I don't have enough health. Oh well, it is what it is. Sometimes those robots just don't like playing nice, and they just did not feel like playing nice today, so I just gotta take it for what it is.
That's one less robot between me and the formula.
Alright, so for this fight coming up here, I'm gonna wait a little bit for these guys to start moving towards me, and then I'm gonna go for a triple on the next guy that spawns in. Alright, got the triple, then these guys are gonna set up for a double. Another double here, and then I clean up the last guy over here. So that was a really good first part of the fight. So now normally there's a second phase of this fight, but I'm gonna skip it using a trick called spin boosting. With my new spin move, I'm essentially gonna jump into a spinner at the same time that I hit the spin move. And I'll just let you see what happens. And we just get a crazy amount of height. So we just skipped the second half of that fight. And we're going to be using that trick to our advantage in a couple more spots in this level. So did a little animation cancel. If you hit your hammer move against the wall, it'll play a shorter animation. So it just saves like a fraction of a second if you do it. So we're going to get buff again here. And so I'm going to set up for another spin boost with this robot to my left. There we go. So the way that this buff power-up works is that you do extra damage, and your spinning attack you can hold, which just lets you wreck enemies. And you also move a lot faster. So I'm going to be doing this short hop spinning motion whenever I have flat land to run on, because it's really fast. Gonna go for a suicide setup. Oh, I didn't get it. Okay, no big deal. So I'm gonna lose a little bit of time here to not having buff, but I can get another power up later. So yeah, I gotta take that fight a little bit slow now. Not too big of a deal. So now we got another spin boost coming up here. This one's a lot trickier than the other two we did, because not only do I not have buff anymore, I also have to gain a lot of height for this one to work. And we got it first try. Let's go. So because I lost the buff, I'm gonna have to grab it here, and I'm gonna do like a sort of backup strat. There we go. So now we got buff again. And the reason I'm gonna want buff is there is a mini boss at the end of the stage that I can 2-cycle if I have the buff power up. So alright, gonna go for a swag strat here. Don't think I got it. Yeah, you can get over that fence if you get enough height, but it's pretty precise. So normally you need that power up over there to get through these flowers, but if you jump in just the right spots, they won't eat you at all. It's pretty great. There's another spin boost there to skip to this section, and now we're coming up on that mini boss fight that I mentioned. So all I'm going to be doing is luring him into walls, and then he's going to stop attacking sooner. Because he's programmed to stop attacking when he hits a wall, or after a certain amount of time. So it's faster to just have him hit a wall. Also, shoutouts to the Beatles. And he's done. Alright, so I'm going to stand right here, and this is where the happiness object's going to spawn for this level, and then we're going to be moving on after that to our first boss fight. Well, main boss fight. Well, no, perfect spot. Alright, so I nailed the positioning for the happiness object, so we saved a couple frames there, which is pretty nice. So yeah, we're moving into Robo Patrick now, and this fight is rather underwhelming as far as boss fights go in this game. Not too much we can do to speed up this fight other than hitting the robot as early as we can when he's vulnerable, and then there's going to be a couple of waves of robots in between each hit that we have to kill pretty quick, but those are relatively consistent, so I'm not too worried about this fight. I'm going to grab another buff power up and sort of lure him off to the side a little bit. This just gets him into a good position for later phases of the fight. I'm going to move into the corner where the robots are going to spawn, so I can hit them as soon as they spawn in. There we go. Little uncooperative, but not too big a deal. Alright, he's gonna put some ice on the ground, but it literally doesn't matter at all. Now, it's something funny to note is you can actually go out of bounds here, using the same spin boosting trick that we did in the previous level, but there's kill planes everywhere, so we can't actually do anything cool with it. If this game were awesome, we could actually go out of bounds and basically skip the entire fight, but that won't make sense until another later level. So those guys are dead. So now we just got one more hit, and then we're done with this fight. Then we get to do some cool stuff in the later levels. And that's RoboPat. Relatively easy fight. And he's gonna give us a hot dog with a green piece of something as the meat. I don't really know. I don't like to think about it. So now that we've dealt with RoboPatrick, the run's gonna start getting into overdrive a little bit. Next level coming up is gonna be fry cook, and it's actually based on the first episode of Spongebob, with like the anchovies. Except for the fact that it takes place in jellyfish fields for some reason. I guess they didn't have the time to make their own more assets than they had to. So to sort of explain why this game reuses so much stuff, this game was made by Heavy Iron, who made other really good SpongeBob games like Battle for Bikini Bottom and the SpongeBob movie game. So to give you an idea of how much of an asset flip this game is, none of the music tracks in this game are original. They're all from the previous two games, and most of the textures are ripped from the last game. Some of the voice acting is unique, but other than that, this game has a lot of similar assets. So we're going to get a move called Cannon Shot. Normally in combat sections and other categories of the game, it would be really good for combat, but we don't really see that in this category, so the move is kind of only used for required quote-unquote puzzles. So these bus segments, there's two of them. They're auto-scrollers. Nothing I can really do to speed them up. I don't know why they put a car wash or a boat. I can't explain this game. This game is just too weird. Defies my understanding of how the world works. So there's actually a slight bottleneck in this part of the level because I can actually not make the cycle. As far as we know, I can't make the cycle here. Oops. That blaster guy looks to be annoying. So there's a slight bottleneck there, so I can get there as fast as I want, but it... Oh, I hit that too early. But I can get to this bus as fast as I want, but it won't save me any time because of that spinner spike robot thing. So that's unfortunate, but we got the second auto-scroller, and then we're going to be set to do some cool stuff in this level. I'll be a little careful I don't die. I'm going to set myself right up here so I can jump to the pier early. And then I'm going to jump around the side of the pier. That skips a cutscene that locks me in place for 5 seconds. And then we're going to do a big trick here where I'm going to stand on this coral, and then jump off these propellers. And then that's going to let me jump over an invisible wall, which allows me to skip the whole area. Uh-oh. Okay, we're good. I thought I took a swim for a sec. That would have been really bad. Okay. Please, camera. Thank you. This game's camera is very glitchy. It likes to get stuck on stuff a lot. So coming up is we used to have to do this segment normally, but someone found a trick about a week and a half ago that saves 7 seconds here. I'm gonna go for it, and if I fail, whatever. So I'm gonna go in here, turn around, jump to this rock. Oh, I missed it. Oh, wait, I might have a second chance. Oh, I hit the cutscene. Yeah, I'm dead. All right, I'll skip it. Yeah, essentially what it lets you do is it lets you skip this segment right here, but it's pretty tricky, and it was only found a week and a half ago, so it doesn't save enough time for me to go for it right now. So this is a really annoying puzzle segment, so I have full intentions of skipping this. So I'm gonna come up here and bring this down. This serves the purpose of keeping the propellers down so I can jump up, boost off of them later. So I'm gonna jump off this propeller. Oh, it fell down. I'll just pretty easy to hop back up here. Gonna go off this propeller onto here, and then use that platform to jump over an invisible wall and skip that segment. So that one can be kind of tricky. Now I got some more robots to kill. I'm gonna snipe this guy off to the side. And then we're gonna pick up Squidward here. Squidward's pretty broken. He has a really high rate of fire, and most enemies die in one hit to him. So he's kind of broken, but we don't get to see a lot of that in this category as well because of how short it is. So I was kind of lucky. I actually managed not to hit this tiki here. The quicksand here can slow you down, but if you do a frame perfect jump on the sand, it will not get you stuck and you can keep moving with normal speed. I'm gonna jump off of the steam pipe to get onto a later section of the track. And then we're coming down towards the last little clearing of the level. this propeller rotates on a cycle, and I need to hit this. So I'm gonna go for. Oh, I got it. Cool. Normally you're supposed to wait for that, but I was impatient, so I got a really sexy strat. All right, I didn't get the second one because my positioning was a little off, but I got one of them, which is pretty nice. And so that's gonna be the end of Fry Cook. So after this level, things are really gonna take off. So to kind of explain what I'm going to be doing a little bit in these next few sections of the game is that the way that this game tracks progress is that at the end of each level, there is a happiness object, and you pick it up, and then in the game's code, you up a number that says how many levels that you've completed. And so the game uses that number to sort of keep track of where you are within the game. And so we can kind of manipulate this because normally the developers don't intend for you to collect that same happiness object more than once. Because if you try to revisit the end of a level, it'll just put like a blue warp. So what we're going to do in this level is I'm going to kill this guy. Then I'm going to jump off of these ice cubes. And I'm going to jump off these poles to get out of bounds. And then, well, just don't blink. And that's the end of the level. Okay, so the reason why I said what I was talking about earlier is that the developers like to keep these objects hidden out of bounds in order to save on processing power so that they don't have to magically make them poof into existence every time you beat a level. Because that would normally cause a frame rate spike. So they leave them out of bounds. So if we collect them from out of bounds, that's the trigger for ending the level. So since they're just right there, we collect the object and then it tricks the game into finishing the level for us.
Hey, everybody. I think
So,
I'm beginning to remember where the
no pun intended, but I think that's one of the cooler levels in the run. Coming up here is Murmuler, one of my favorite levels. But we gotta get through even more trivia to get to the cool stuff. Evil! Alright, so I turned around behind me. I'm gonna go for this rock, jump on top of it. We're gonna jump over to this railing. Oh, I missed it. Okay, not a big deal. And that's Murmuler. So I think the world record for that individual level is 10 seconds. That's a very short level. So what we're going to be doing now is we're going to be going to the storybook, and the storybook allows us to replay and revisit levels that we've already beaten, which normally you're supposed to use in order to recollect all the happiness objects that you quote-unquote missed in your first run-through, even though you really couldn't get them. But because of the fact that these objects, and for some reason this trigger too, continue to exist out of bounds in the level when they're loaded, we can repeatedly activate these triggers again, and this tricks the game into upping that level counter that I mentioned earlier. So if I continue to do this trick for another 5 to 6 times, it will trick the game into thinking that I've beaten a ton of levels that I haven't. So what this will let me do is just skip right to the final boss. So that skips one boss fight and 2 of the longest levels in the game. So we're going to be chilling here for a little bit. If there's anybody in the room who has any questions, I don't know if it's just speedrun club people. Yeah, it is. But, oh well. So we're just going to be warping back to Murmuler over and over. And I have a visual cue for when I know I have one more round of Murmuler to go, but these go by pretty fast, so.
Looks just like Mermaid Man and Barnacle Boy. Though I don't want to get too excited. It might not be them. But what if it is them?
Oh, gosh darn it. Yeah, that jump's a little bit tricky.
Killing me.
I'm also inputting a spin right before I hit the trigger. For whatever reason, this causes the menu to come up faster that ends the level, so that we just do it. for that reason. So now you can see that different levels in the storybook are getting filled up. So what that means is that the game is realizing that, hey, this person is this far into the story game, so we're going to start adding more levels to the storybook. So if we wanted to, we could actually access some of those levels like out of order if we wanted to. It's kind of weird how that works, but not too big of a deal for the enemy percent category, because all we want to do is just get to the end.
I don't want to get too excited. It might not be them. But what if it is them? Ow! The suspense is killing me!
So I'm pretty sure we have one more left, but we'll see where we are in the overworld. It'll put you in the back corner of the map when it's your last one to go, so I use that as my visual cue instead of actually having to keep track like a responsible person. So yep, we're in the far back corner, so we've got one more to go. So that's the last time we'll be hearing Mermaid Man see Evil for the Run, unfortunately.
I don't want to get too excited. It might not be them. But what if it is them?
Oop.
Ow! The suspense is killing me!
There we go, this should be good. Yep, there we go. And that's all of Mermalair we're gonna get. So now that we've done all of that prep work, we can go straight to the final boss. So a couple people I just want to quickly shout out. I want to shout out Cole, who basically discovered almost every major trick that's in this category and a lot of the tricks in the other categories. So thanks to Cole for his contributions to the game. Thanks to Tedious for helping me to push this game really hard. He's been a really good support for me as a community member. Just an overall swell dude. And thanks to Rochester Speedruns for having me and for letting me do this run here today. So thank you guys. So we're moving into the final boss now. This is Roboplankton. So unfortunately, this fight is essentially an auto-scroller. So not too. Oh, somebody texted me. Get rid of that. Probably CVS. All right. So basically, to go fast in this section, I'm going to be making sure that my robot kills are fast as with previous boss fights. But we're not going to be really optimizing too much until we get to the core, when we actually enter the inside of the robot.
Look out for the scout! I can't believe I smashed the whole thing. How do you like that? I did
The other big thing is that we're going to be getting a buff power-up inside of when we go inside the Roboplankton. So we're going to be trying to maintain that for as long as possible. Going into the final core phase, though, it will forcibly remove the buff power-up for whatever reason. It's only on Xbox 360. It's kind of dumb. But we will have to, we won't have to worry about that phase. So, nail him in the hand. And we're going to go inside the core.
It's over, Spongebob. I deceived you. I outsmarted you. I won. And now I shall go to claim my prize, and there's nothing anybody can do about it.
So for each of these core sections, there's going to be 3 generators, and then we got to go hit the heart. So I got to be careful because these hammer bots are jerks. They just love to kill you. Oh, please don't, please don't, please don't. Okay, yeah, I think we're good. Yeah, we're good. Okay. That spinner bot was getting a little too close for comfort, but we're good. We've got the buff power up.
That'll put a little spring in your step.
And wait for the steam cycle. You can actually make it past that steam cycle, but there's no reason to because the Roboplankton will just wander over anyway. There's literally no point other than to be cool. I apologize for my phone. I don't know if that can be heard. There we go. Yeah, if that doesn't give you an idea of how broken the buff power up with spin is, I don't know what will. It's just continuous damage. It just wrecks everything. Alright, so now that we have buff, we can actually go straight behind it and get to a generator early. The buff power-up in this section is pretty far away from that, so we would be losing a fair amount of time. Ooh, why didn't it hit? That was weird. Alright, so that hammer bot once put me through the floor in a Rochester marathon, so I'm very glad that he didn't mess with me today. Uh-oh, uh-oh, uh-oh. Yep, we lost it. Oh yeah, that's right. It doesn't matter on this stage. We actually get a buff power up in this part of the auto scroller, so it does not matter if I lose it. So that's kind of nice. Come on, there we go. Okay. That was very strange. So one last phase, and then we're gonna be back inside. Just gonna get another buff power up here just to get through this segment faster. And then, so we got one more generator left, so get ready on time. Time will come up when the heart explodes essentially on the last hit. Time. Oh, that's pretty good. Nice. So that's SpongeBob's Truth or Square. Thank you guys for watching. Thank you guys for letting me do this run, like I said earlier. That's all I've got for now, so it's not stopping. Did you turn? Oh.